This broadcast is inappropriate for all ages, right here on Jam on Toast. This is the Watch Spot. I am Kamurai. For the video listeners, you can see this overlay thing that I have at the bottom here. Being that you can't really see so good unless my hand's in front of it, just because I think I typically wear darker shirts anyways. I think I'm going to actually put the white back there, but I am going to go to this lower third format again, and that way when we do two people we can do it and it doesn't look weird. There's just a lot of balancing issues, and there's so much information now that it's just a lot better if people would go to http://media.php, and that'll be better. But this I am going to try to make as short as humanly possible. It should be a shorter week, and then next week should be back on track. I will go ahead and say up front that I have not watched Game of Thrones yet because I've just been busy. But I'm probably going to flip on HBO now for this weekend so that I can watch both episodes probably on Sunday or Monday. I don't know, whenever I have fucking time. But there's a lot of skip on here because I probably watched them last week when I shouldn't have. So let's go ahead and get this not over with, but let's get on with this. Over at Two Broke Girls on CBS, Randy stays over. So much blood. They go to the hospital visit. It's this whole like sing-songness of Max going, I am poor, I am poor, I am poor. And they're trying to show the juxtaposition of the two characters together for some setup in the future. But I don't know what that's going to be because we already knew all the shit. The fact that something physically damaging happened to Randy is kind of a metaphor for life disaster, but being that he bled that much all over Caroline, no less, yeah, I could say. Oh, and then I'm going to rant at CBS real quick, because give me my Odd Couple back. If you open it up to a second season, let me watch it. I'm a little upset. Over on The Last Man on Earth, oh, I'm sorry. I got these mixed up. Last Man on Earth, shit, how do I fix that? There's this weird divorce marriage, because Carol's old-fashioned, and she's really just obstinate at this point. There's no reason for it. They are the society, so why bother with these traditions? And I guess it's by the same reasoning that I just said. They're in charge, so they can do whatever the fuck they want. But for baby-making purposes, I don't see that being an issue. The whole idea of, like, the religious marriage is supposed to be in the eyes of God. God understands what the fuck's going on better than you do. So Carol divorces Phil to marry Todd so Todd can put a baby in her. And then Phil switches Todd out for Mike. Todd's really angry about it for whatever reason, which is kind of a weird thing. So, like, I don't know if maybe he's going alpha male, but it turns out Carol's already pregnant, so what was the fucking point of anything? I think that's the punchline a lot of the times in this show, is that, like, all this stupid shit, what was the point? And I think Katie was watching with me, and that's exactly what she was saying. Is like, these people are stupid and inept. How do they make it this long? That's really the point of the show, is that these people should not have been the survivors. The most capable person died when he was on the verge of leaving, by the way. And now Mike the astronaut is here, and we haven't got to a point where he can really show off because he's been too busy going toe-to-toe with Phil. And then now Todd's alphaing up, so we'll have to see what happens there. Yeah, I just skipped over all the weird, like, nonsense sex stuff that they did. So, yeah. There's that. Over on Last Man Standing, which is what I got the show mixed up with, Kyle moves in. They there's this whole underhanded thing with Mandy and trying to get Kyle to move in so that she can save money to promote her business more and not take the sellout route and really do the proper work, but they can't afford to live on their own. So Kyle actually gives up or is giving up his place, and then they do a week trial period, and like it turns out that everyone likes Kyle there because Kyle's super likable and he's nice and he does things for other people. And he isn't used to having a family like people who support him. He like they built this whole thing up where he lived on his own since he was 16, and that I guess he had like a afraid thing of like living with a family because he hadn't seen it and he thought he was better off on his own. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with that one. And there's this whole B plot of Ed trying to honor Mike for his services to the store, and it comes down to this punchline of him just kind of dicking over Larrabee and Joe. Is that his name? The mechanic guy that Jay Leno plays. Um, eh, it's there's more throwaway in it lately, and I'm not super happy about it. Over on Crowded, I'm still super happy about this. It's all about employment, so of course Stella turns into a cam girl and has to face her parents one on one with that. And then Shay, being the super smart PhD that she is, goes and works for a burger chain and becomes a junior VP like within a week. Uh, I don't know how you do that. The rest of the episode was full of like the old people trying to determine what happens when they're incapable of dying. Like essentially the life support issue. It's like if I can like one position was if I can watch football and eat chocolate, that's all I need. Keep me alive as long as you can. The other one was like if I can't say shoot me, shoot me. So it's a whole thing. And I'm sure Stella would do good as a cam girl, but I still think Shay's the one I like on that show. And I don't know if it's just because she's such a better personality or what, because I mean they're both cute, but like sign me up for Shay. Smart girls. Um, Over on Mom, Jody's the dead girl. Her ex-boyfriend or boyfriend or whatever the hell you say, widower, um, starts coming to meetings, and of course, no one likes that, but everyone's trying to support, and part of me was just waiting to see Christy actually kill him. I don't know. I don't like that he's there. I think that he's going to be a new character, and I cannot believe that. I realize it's just a show, but I cannot believe that we're going to swap Jody out for this douchebag. And I liked Jody. Uh, like she had fun vulnerability and naivety, and she had a nice contrast that we're not getting on the show now that Christy's daughter's not there. And Christy's daughter was so hostile that she couldn't be a good character, whereas Jody was very tied in and occasionally hostile out of frustration. I still can't believe they killed her character off. I liked that character so much. I don't. Oh, I've left some things blank. Okay, I can adjust on this. Um, we'll do those last. Let's see, what was the next show? Bob's Burgers. I do not get the whole thing of tikifying anything. It really doesn't make sense to me. But like Bob has like an old friend come in and they decide to be business partners because the guy has money and Bob's never seen $100,000 in a single spot. So I guess that makes a pairing. Um, but quite honestly, like I don't think that's enough, and I think that was the point of the show because the other guy comes in, he takes over, and he tikifies everything, and he trying to change the market, the representation of the company, and Bob wants it to represent them, and he knows that that's not them. And he wants people to come in for the food, not because it's fun. But people are so stupid. It's just a fact. I'm not trying to offend anybody. That like they will do dumb things like that. They'll go to a place because it's fun, even if the food's shit. And if the food actually is good, they'll ignore that for whatever like stupid theme is because of the perception of the time that they're having versus the actual time that they're having. It's ridiculous. Um, Wait, what? No, it's season one for Lucifer. But again, very well written. They managed to tie the plot all together and actually have one single storyline for all the members of the family. And you don't see that a whole lot in that show. Over the Real Neils, this was from last week, but I don't remember talking about it. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Mom has a book club that she's been avoiding like very heavily, um, and she ends up winning over the book club and taking over from the other queen bitch. And it's very interesting to kind of see that dynamic happen, and then she doesn't like that it happened. And then we get to see what a gay coffee house looks like, and like there's a rainbow too, but other than that, it's a coffee house, and like there's an open discussion about like how it's disappointing that it's not got X, Y, and Z. And then oh, there's a fun bit about running in, or his dad runs into an old friend who's come out and is gay, and they go to play gay dodgeball or whatever together, and dad gets called out for being a tourist, which I thought was right and funny, and then they put him in the depressed divorced dad's sports club or whatever. It's a big joke they do in shows, and I always think it's hilarious for whatever reason. Oh gosh, so over on Castle, and I forgot to identify which episode it was. It was the one where the guy dies over and over. Like I hate that that's a spoiler, but that's the whole point of the episode. Is that like you're dealing with the luckiest guy on the planet in theory. Did I click on the wrong season? This is Triple KX back. Oh, okay, this is back when he became a private eye. Oops. Oh, I could have just gone to season 8. I really thought they were cleared for another season. They're talking about Castle or Beckett not being in Castle the next season, and Laney not being there either, which I think are both are a mistake. So essentially the safety inspector ends up getting targeted, and they poison him, they electrocute him, and he gets shot in the head and just not dead. But I love that, like, there's the whole thing with Castle doing the B story where he thinks the guy's a superhero or superpowered being. And then we've got, like, a romantic thing. And I like that that's the big thing in the guy's life, is that under duress of penalty of death, he is still trying to date the girl that he likes. And I love that determination, and I love that. To me, that shows that he's actually interested. That like that he actually has legit feelings. If he's that drawn in to somebody, yeah, like, oh, I'll ignore death threats from the mob for you. That's romantic. That's romanticism. Romance. It's one of those words. So that was interesting. Over on Grimm. We've got like vulture vests, and I swear to God, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel. So it's vulture vests that will stick a tube from their mouth into the mouth of the other person, and this somehow liquefies their bones and not their whole body. And then they suck that out, and then they can spit that back into other people's mouths. So we have that whole A plot going to shroud the more important B plots that are going on. Adeline making progress with the group and supposedly trying to talk to Nick and not being able to, and dealing with that. um, Eve pursuing Adeline and pursuing Black Claw, Bernard being in bed with Black Claw and using it to his advantage to get Diana back and bringing in Adeline on that. So the next episode is going to have a lot of questions answered for me on where they're going to go with this, and I want to see where the Adeline Eve Renard plot goes. At this point, fuck the Grimm and all that. Like, it just doesn't matter. Um, they're along for the ride. Oi, oi, oi. Lucifer, I love that, like he's framed for murder and he's just pinned down, and of course the mortal he loves or whatnot, um, is accusing him of murder, and like he just loses all hope. She makes him more vulnerable than we know. Um, I love that whole thing. And then something happens. He gets away. I don't even remember how it happened, but he wasn't in front of the guns anymore. It may have been Metadil or whatever his name is. But those two teaming up uh, to fight mortals was really interesting. Because it really didn't matter. They were just gods amongst men, shaking off bullets and everything. And the fact that they didn't use Metadil's little time stitch is actually worrisome. Because as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, something bad's going to happen because they didn't time stitch. And sure enough, because we got the demon daggers in place, which I guess are designed to kill angels or immortals, I guess. So Metadil gets all fucked up. And then Decker, of course, Lucifer gets way too close to her because he's trying to help her out in her situation. And Decker doesn't get the fuck out of there because I don't think he ever told Decker about it. And of course, he gets shot, and we get to see what happens when he dies. And of course, this is the last season. I didn't even realize that I was watching a finale. But of course, they're approved for a season 2, so I cannot wait to see what happens in season 2 of Lucifer. They are really setting up for this huge thing. If God created the world, who is Lucifer's mother? And I'm willing to bet they took Lilith and they swapped her a little bit, because Lilith is supposed to be like the original demon that Lucifer created in his image, but I'm willing to bet they switched it, or they're doing like an Amara thing, like Supernatural is doing, but instead of it being God's sister, it's God's wife, or some equivalent thereof. DC Legends of Tomorrow. This is a good episode. I do not want to like spoil it, but it's DC Legends of Tomorrow. They have a very strict policy that they have to follow, so it becomes not if they're going to survive. It becomes very much how do they get away with surviving, and you just can't do anything about that. It's it's what it is. So the Pilgrim is fantastic. I love that they put a woman in that role, and they weren't afraid to show her getting her face smashed in and taking hits. Now, granted, she is very smallly affected by a lot of the action that happens, and she's super powered, and she has tech. So it is what it is. It's not quite woman abuse when she can take it. So like maybe they're sitting on that middle ground. But I liked that they took a shot and they wanted to put that out there and see what it is because it's so good. And I'm hoping like this will be a call. This and Wonder Woman will be a call to put more characters or females in those roles and care less about it, and just let the public deal with it. Because they're going to have opinions no matter what you do, so you might as well do what makes the most sense and is quite epic when it comes down to it. But they battle against the Pilgrim, and the resolution on that is amazing. And it comes down, spoilers, to young Rip, and that was a fantastic moment. I almost want a whole show just young Rip, or Rip Hunter, Time Master, whatever you want to call it. I'd love that show. Over Once Upon a Time, it really feels like I'm repeating myself anytime I think or hear about Once Upon a Time these days, because it's some shit happened. Someone traitored somebody, and the villain is making progress. Because right now it really feels like the heroes are not making dick for progress. Hades has set up fail safes so that they can't do the things they've been doing. So the only thing that they've got in their hand is to have dead souls move on out of the underworld, whether it be to place A, B, or C. Um, um, but the kind of the theme there was trying to get at Hades by getting to Zelina and taking the angle of sisters. Like we get to explore some backstory on Regina and Zelina, and I like being drip fed information, but like they fucking hold it hostage. It's not like they're holding back information. It's like we've got a gun to its head, and you're not going to get this until we say so. So like that's the information. That's how we get information in this show, and it's very bothersome. I'd much rather once this is all done, I may even do it myself. I may go back, pull all the episodes, and recut the footage so that it's all in chronological order. I don't know what you're doing. Why are you so upset? Huh? What's the matter? Where were you trying to go? Go that way. Ugh. So, like Once Upon a Time is kind of a weird show right now, but I think it's gonna turn. What I don't like is that Pan's back in the picture. I'm not gonna explain how that happens, but there's just too many things, and if we're gonna kill villains, let them stay dead. I don't want to deal with them in their dead form too. Ugh, especially Pan. Pan was just a bad villain. Everyone seems to agree with that. I don't understand where the ABC got the idea that people wanted to see Pan again. Oi, oi, oi. Over on the catch. The common get a chance to live a little bit longer. The assassin's on board in contact with somebody else who's approving, and they want the conman to stay alive because, let's face it, living people get you things that you want. Dead people do not. You only kill them when like you absolutely can count them as a loss. So as long as you can keep outsmarting them, keep them employed. And I think they try to levy the debt against a bracelet. And if I remember correctly, Alice ends up with her hands on it because Jonathan's being a stupid fuckhead and getting too close to her, which lets her make her plays. And on top of that, her and her agency are now playing against Interpol because they're a bunch of dickheads bugging her apartment illegally. Even if it's Interpol, that's still they don't have the rights to do that here. They're supposed to be the European FBI. I think he's rogue. I don't even think he's actually with Interpol anymore. And he's there under the guise of being FBI, so maybe it really is. But she's playing a dangerous game, fucking around with him, and who knows how genuine he actually feels in the scenario. But at least they didn't get killed, so the story can progress a little bit there. I was happy to let them disappear for an episode or two and see what the show looks like without Jonathan in the picture. Because if the entire show is the point that Jonathan is in the picture, I don't find this as interesting. I get that she has some interesting internal turmoils to deal with on top of everything, but I kind of want to see her solve a murder or investigation or whatever. Right now, the most interesting character is the lawyer slash hacker. Who I thought was Christy from Last Man Standing, but I might be wrong. I might just be wrong. Over on the Flash, no Arrow, but the Flash. Flash uses Cisco. Cisco realizes he can do the same things that the other guy could do, and he can open rifts, which is how Zoom got over in the first place. The alternate Cisco started opening rifts. So he opens the rift to get to Earth 2, however hesitant. And Barry goes to confront Zoom, and they have it out. Like, they try to pin Zoom down, and Zoom has a little chat with him, and then Zoom just takes off the thing because he can, because it's Zoom. And of course, he's a psychotic, dying asshole. And for some reason, I'm sure it has to do with Joe's son being kidnapped, but Barry gives up his speed. That's the whole point of the episode. It's a big setup episode for that. I'm not even calling spoilers. It's the whole point of this episode because we know Barry's a useless little dick and that's what he's going to do. But he supposedly gives his speed up to Zoom, and Zoom almost kills him afterwards. But instead he steals Dr. Snow, Daniel Panabaker's character. Um, and if he kills her, then I may not have a reason to watch the show anymore, because Flash is an annoying fucking character. That's a ridiculous thing. Like confront, beat Zoom, and take him down. Like especially if you know that you're faster now with that device, and Zoom's on a clock as it is. Unless they fucked him over and like figured out how to steal his back like with nanobots. I don't agree with this plan at all. Over on the show that is unlike any other show, the 100. I think I was gonna rewatch to figure out what happened on the Arcadian side of things. Um, I just know. Oh, that's right. They started getting attacked. So they think that like a lot of their people were missing. They started thinking they got attacked and were getting chipped. And it turns out that the uh, the Mountain Man that she let go, she should have fucking killed him. And Lexa was too involved with Clark to see clearly. Um, the Mountain Man really should have been killed earlier because he tried to like airlock everybody. Um, oh man, that was so fucked up. But we got to see what happens when the chip attaches to someone who doesn't have the blood. Now, granted that the Mountain Man had a different blood than the Grounders, and that have different blood than Sky Crew. So the black blood that the Nightbloods have could be extremely different from, or extremely close to Sky Crew blood, and just look differently. Because, let's be honest, the commander was of Sky Crew, so there's a diverge that happens evolutionarily. Of course, over on Polis and dealing with Jeremy, his old lover shows up, and then Jaha shows up, and it turns out that his lover is now a citizen, which made me really sad. I hated to say that. Like, she acted so normal compared to everybody else for the longest around him, like enough to actually like make love or whatever you want to call it. And she got all the information she needed out of him because he just ran his mouth. Which put Jaha in a position to exile Jeremy from the crazy leader lady. I can't remember her name. And of course, that idiot's so power hungry and insane that she accepts the chip with no questions. And so now it really turns out that like Jeremy's going to be the one sane person there, because if the I can't remember the name for the commander in their language, but if the commander is chipped, then she's in a position to order other people to take the chips, and so we're gonna see Allie just take over. They literally showed her on the throne with the commander to the side. So we're about to see a new world order hit in a big way, and they're not just gonna have to worry about their Arcadians coming after them for our survival crew. But that was kind of fucked up that like the Mountain Man had to interrupt all this stuff, because that's gonna delay things just enough for everything to get out of hand. And they're gonna have to like jump and knock these people out and cut the circuits out of them. Oh my god. And it's the ultimate thing too, because how do you tell who the enemies are when you can't see uniforms or anything? It's why police have a more dangerous job than soldiers. Soldiers are signing up to go get shot at. Police are signing up to get shot at by their own people. It's really kind of messed up. But that's really all I got for us this week. Next week I'll talk about both episodes of Game of Thrones, the first two episodes of Game of Thrones. I promise we'll find a way. And oh, Deadbeat! Deadbeat season 2 is a thing. There's lots of stuff going on with that. They started to move away from the pot and actually go to an actual plot line, dealing with Danny Poker and dealing with ghosts. And like actually a lot like a real moral place at one point. So I was really proud of that growth in the show because the pot humor is not what the show does for me. He's a pothead that does ghosts and discovery stuff, not a guy who does discovery stuff and smokes pot. Like that's just how my brain works on the show. And so when the joke is that he's smoking pot, like I don't find a lot of humor in that. And I wouldn't think like potheads would either. I would think that they'd be like, yeah, that's what he does. Can we see a show now? And this is a lot shorter than I usually do, but I'm thankful for that because I am tired. Hopefully you were not. Hopefully you were entertained. And however you ingest this, thank you. Until you see me next time, I am Kamurai, and that's where I say have a nice day. If you want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations, and they'll take you to our other channels. Thanks for watching.